and I'm excited today. I'm going to interview Johnny with Transylvanian Coliving, and he just actually launched in just what, a month ago, right? So I'll let you
Yeah,
explain and get into your concept and what it's all about.
awesome. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I just opened up about a month ago, and right now I'm starting some clients from Airbnb. Hopefully, I get some more long-term digital nomads. My location is actually in Transylvania, so I call it Transylvanian Co-living. But it's in the city of Cluj-Napoca, Romania. If you've ever been there, it definitely represents Transylvania really well.
What's the best part about it?
Ooh, there's a lot that I like about it, but I think it's the like the hills that surround the city and like the fresh air. I mean, I come from Phoenix, Arizona, which is the desert, so having a lot of trees is a big deal for me.
No, and that's where, are you originally from Phoenix?
Yeah, I grew up in Phoenix. Actually, I was born in Detroit, but I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, nice. That's super interesting. And then what took you over to Romania?
Well, I actually have some Romanian. Well, my parents are Romanian, so I have Romanian background. I grew up speaking Romanian at home, so I figured, you know what, if I'm going to go somewhere, I should go somewhere where I know the language. So that's how I came to this conclusion.
Nice. That's super exciting. And then it's a lot less expensive over there, right, than the States?
Yeah, it is a little less expensive. It's about the cost of living is about half of what it is in Phoenix.
Okay.
Um, but taking that into consideration, Cluj is the most expensive city in Romania.
Okay. Interesting. Got it.
Yeah.
And then how many bedrooms do you guys rent out?
Four bedroom. It's a four-bedroom apartment, so it's a little smaller than one might consider to be co-living space. But when I wanted to get started with this kind of concept, I wanted to make sure I start small and then scale up as time passes.
Cool. And then what did you do before launching your co-living space for work?
Before that, I still do teach English online, but I teach English online. I do tutoring, mostly like Microsoft Excel tutoring, one-on-one tutoring. It's all over like webcam, like kind of what we're doing here.
Nice. Okay, cool. And you still do that too.
Yep, still do that.
And you live in your concept, I take it.
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then are you guys fully occupied yet or not yet?
Um, you know, it kind of fluctuates. Sometimes it's fully occupied, sometimes it's not, depending on how the season and the demand. Right now, it's three out of the four rooms are occupied.
Got it. And then do you guys rent on nightly, weekly, monthly? Do you do only weekly or monthly? Like, how are you guys gonna allow people? Well, if you're doing Airbnb, are you offering nightly?
I really don't like to do nightly because it requires too much setup, and all that stuff. So I do a minimum of two nights actually. Um, but I still have a couple of final touches left to do to make it a real co-living space. And when I finish those, then I'm gonna have a minimum of 1 month.
Got it. Okay, so 1 month minimum.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then I mean, again, I know you're just starting out. Like how many hours a day do you work? Like how active are you on your co-living concept?
So I work about 4 or 5 hours a day teaching English and doing different, kind of projects here and there. Um, but I'm hoping to expand that because now I spent a lot of time getting this place set up, and now I have a little bit more free time now that it's up and running to to do a little bit more of my side project that I do.
Nice, perfect. And then the other question I had for you was, what's your favorite part of running your concept, your co-living home?
Yeah, my favorite part is just meeting the different people, their backgrounds, and kind of, taking a little bit from each person, from where they live, and a little bit of their culture, a little bit of what they learned up until this point, and just, meeting new people. That's a big reason why I wanted to do this because I knew that working online, it can get a little lonely, especially if I work from home. So having new people kind of come in and out kind of adds a little bit of spice to my day-to-day life.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. And then what countries do most people come from when they stay at your home?
So far, most people have been from somewhere in Europe. I've had people from England, from Estonia, from Russia, Spain recently, and a few Romanians as well.
Nice. Okay. That's really cool. I love that. And then what's the average stay been so far? Like how long are they typically staying on average?
Right now I have someone that's that has been here for 2 weeks, planning on staying for three. Um, that's the longest I've had so far. But the average I'd say is about 1 or 2 weeks.
Got it. Perfect. And then do you guys have like a set of like resident commitments or guest rules or anything like that dialed in yet?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we have some like rules and that sort of stuff, but nothing really very strict. I don't have any sort of like commitments that they have to do other than wash your dishes.
Yeah. Is that like what are some things that you guys include? Is it just accommodations that are furnished? Do you guys do any food? Do you do any activities or events?
Yeah, so I have some space here for events. So I have weekly events. Like one of my passions is board games, and so I have like a board game meetup every week. And if you heard of a game called Mafia, I have played something called Werewolves. It's like a social deduction game, and I host that at my location every week, and I invite my guests to join as well. But what we provide is pretty much it's furnished, and we provide all the utilities and weekly cleaning in the common
Nice.
area.
And then when you do your board game nights, do you use another like platform online to get, or is it just your friends that you like? How do you invite people over for game night?
Yeah, some of the best success that we've had with finding people, Facebook is number one. Um, some success we've had with Meetup.com, Couchsurfing.com. I would say those are my top three.
Cool. Okay, no, that was we use Meetup also. So that's what I was wondering. They have Meetup out there also?
Yeah, it's not as popular though, so that's why
Okay.
it's not as successful as Facebook.
I was surprised. I was surprised to hear you guys have it. Okay, so Facebook, and so same thing. Like we always use Facebook, but I've heard, yeah, Meetup's a great way to drive people to events.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and then couch surfing, there's even people on there that'll do like independent bedrooms, or do you guys also rent out a couch?
No, I really don't want to rent out couches yet, just because of the type of guests that come from couch surfing vary a lot. And
But that's what I've
so
heard. That's what I've heard.
yeah. I personally don't usually have a problem, but I want to make sure that my guests aren't like, surprised by any sort of person sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, no, no, no. And so in my home in Los Angeles, the opposite happens. So we just did it again just this weekend. We accidentally turned our rooms on Airbnb somehow. Two of us did. And so we got stuck, one on the couch and one in like the
Oh
co-working
wow.
space on an airbed. Like, but we live there. And so it's like, okay, we'll just deal with it. Like we would never rent our couch out.
Yeah.
But we rented our bedroom out and then we've got stuck on the couch for a couple nights. So it works. But I agree, it's a different clientele. The lower the price point, you're going to get different people coming into your home. So it
Exactly.
changes the dynamic.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I was just like, how do we keep doing this? Yeah, it was just so funny. Okay, cool. So let's see here. And then do you guys have co-working space in the home?
Yeah, that's the final touch that I have to add. Right now, up until now, I waited about like a month and a half just for the property to be furnished. And then recently finished installing like some of the kitchen appliances. But right now, the final touch that I need to do is install like working desks and chairs. There's a room I have set aside for that, so I'm gonna have some tables and some chairs where people can work. And so, I provide that really fast internet that everyone wants, and that separation from where you work and where you sleep. Because right now I work from my room, and I would really prefer not to.
No, I did that years ago and I never went back to doing that. I won't even have a desk in my bedroom. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
because you don't separate like rest and work if it's in the same room.
exactly. Yeah. Last time I had to do that, I put like a bed sheet just between my desk and my bed, just so I don't see it.
Oh, nice. Hey, there you go. You got creative. That's
Yeah,
smart.
whatever works.
Yeah, right. We do whatever it takes. Let's see here. And then what's your future for your co-living home? Like, how do you see your expansion happening?
Yeah, that's a great question. And to be honest, I really don't know how that's gonna pan out. It is a kind of small property. It's only 4 bedroom, so it's a little bit more intimate than what a lot of people might think. Before this, I was actually living in a really big house, kind of the same concept, like the co-living type of thing, but it was more like it ended up kind of being more like adult dorms. So I'm taking what I learned from living there to here, except here it's only 4 bedroom. And what I want to do is have, 4 people who all work online, to live here and work here. But what's interesting though is in the city there's actually a lot of co-working spaces as well. So I want to have events or kind of collaborate with those co-working spaces and see, what can come out of that.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's a great idea. Especially if are they walking distance to your house?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that was one of the priorities when I was looking for properties. Walking distance to co-working spaces was like number one.
oh, then that's super smart. No, because I don't, we have co-working space at the house, but I have an office like 7 minute drive away because I don't want to work from home. I mean, I do
Yeah,
sometimes, but so I'm at a WeWork in Los Angeles. Working from there, just I could separate the two.
yeah, exactly. I want to have that separation. Sometimes I have days where I just wish I could just go and work somewhere else at a co-working space, but because of the nature of, how I teach English, I need to have a plain background like this, and I need it to be nice and quiet. So it's really tough for me to work at a co-working space.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Because it needs to be super quiet. It has to be
Yeah.
like a white background, completely like,
Um, no, not necessarily white, because I use a software that puts like a different kind of text, right? Like a green screen type of thing.
yeah. Oh, neat. Okay, cool. How long have you been doing that for?
I've been teaching English online for about 3 months now, but I've been tutoring online for a long time, like 2 or 3 years.
Nice. Okay, cool. And then, Johnny, my last question for you is where do you see the whole industry of co-living going?
Ooh. Um, so I think my co-living space is kind of like the smallest, like, possible concept, right? So you have like a dorm style apartment for adults pretty much. And if you can scale it up to include like more people and more people, I think a lot of cities are going to benefit a lot from this type of living style because it makes it easy for people like myself to, move from one city to another. Like if I get tired of this city, I can go to another city really easily, and I can find reliable accommodation with reliable resources like good internet and cleaning services and a good community. That's the most important aspect for me when I find a new city is to have a good community. And, working online, it can be hard to find a good community because you're not really interacting with many people in the real world when you work online so much.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I agree 110%. So, yeah,
Yeah, but
community.
one of the things I found is that a lot of the co-living spaces are very far from the city, right? I've seen like co-workation type of places where they're like in a remote island or like near the beach. And although that's really cool, the only option you have is to have a community of the people that you live with, right? So if somehow or eventually, or if people get tired of each other from seeing each other too much, they can go explore the city and maybe even go to a co-working space, right? So they have the option if they need to take it.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's true. That's just, yeah. So some of them might use it more as like a retreat, right? If they go
Yeah,
and live there by the beach, kind of secluded. I've seen those spaces too.
exactly. Yeah, and I want to make sure that people don't get sick and tired of each other. So they got to have that option to,
Yeah.
get out of this this space. Because in my experience, even living in that big house with like, it was a 10 bedroom house, and a lot of people worked online. Even living and working there for a while, you can get sick and tired of some people, and having an option to work somewhere else makes it a lot easier.
Was that in Romania also, that big house?
Yeah, I was in Bucharest.
Okay. And then, but with 10, it was 10 people living in the home?
It fluctuated over time. I was only there for about 2.5 months. But I had something like, I want to say like 10 to 15 bedrooms. I don't know exactly, but it was a really big house, and it was right down the street from the palace in Bucharest, which the palace is like the main parliament building there. So it had like a really interesting vibe to it. So I want to kind of take the idea, but I couldn't afford to do it on that scale, so I scaled it down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But that's interesting because with that many people, like, don't you guys kind of divvy up? Because I guess in our, like, I was in one house with 6 people, and a lot of times, yeah, maybe you get sick and tired of hanging out with everybody all together all the time. But a lot of times, people would like pair up and go do things together. So 2 or 3 people would go, go out one night, or, so you kind of would like mix and match like who you hung out with. So it actually never got boring. It was like exciting. So I don't know, maybe it depends on the people you're living with and how big
Yeah,
you want with them.
yeah, that is kind of what happened. I would go out with a variety. Sometimes I go out with like one group or go out with a different group or even invite people. I want to have that option though. What's something important for me though is I noticed that like as an expat or like as a foreigner coming to another country, it can be hard to spend time with locals. And that's why I invite people over and have those events because a lot of the people who attend these events are locals. So people can get a bigger taste of like the kind of people who live in the city and the local people and that sort of stuff. And I like Cluj. It's very unique in that people here want to learn English, and so they join these sort of events because it helps them practice their English and to learn and to meet interesting people and foreigners and that sort of thing. So it's a good it's a mutual benefit for foreigners to meet the locals and locals to meet the foreigners.
Oh, that's cool. Because otherwise, so you're saying it's a little hard. I mean, it probably depends on the country. So as an expat
Yeah.
coming in, sometimes they're not as welcoming.
I wouldn't say they're not as welcoming. It depends on the country. For example, I was in Thailand and I was talking to a family who were working online, but they weren't living in like a digital nomad type of house where it's a co-living space. They were just kind of living in their own. But one of the things they mentioned was that it was hard to kind of integrate with a local community and a local culture. And I wanted to make sure that I can kind of alleviate that concern here with my co-living space.
Oh, cool. That's cool. What part of Thailand were you in?
I was in, this family was in Pai.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
to Chiang Mai a bunch and then Bangkok. I love Chiang Mai. It's like one
Yeah,
of
I love Chiang Mai. I was there for quite a bit of time in Bangkok and then down south at the
yeah.
island.
No, I love it. I need to go back. It's been a little while. So cool. Well, thank you so much, Johnny, for doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Of course, we'll put
Pleasure.
all your contact information below so that people can reach out if they're ever out there and possibly stay with you. But again,
Yeah, definitely.
okay. Have a
Of
great
course.
rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, and hopefully we stay in touch.
For sure. Okay. Bye.
Bye bye.